Our story in the anime begins in the kingdom of Radia, where witches have lived for thousands of years, and we know that the witches protected humans from danger, and so the witches and humans lived together happily for many long years. As time went on, humans began to harbor resentment toward the witches, feeling jealous of their extraordinary powers that set them apart. So all humans united against the witches, and a decree was issued to kill and execute every witch everywhere. In the kingdom, the decree was carried out. Every witch was executed without any just cause. At that moment, we see a witch named Chloe fleeing the kingdom's oppression with her human friend named Adonis. And we see Chloe searching for the right path on a map since she got lost as usual. At that moment, Adonis pulls out his cell phone and turns on the GPS to pinpoint their exact location. And when Chloe spots the phone in his hands, she argues with him, saying he was warned not to turn that device on in front of her again because it could let the kingdom's guards track them. Adonis reassures her, explaining that he built the phone himself, using technology infused with a magical enchantment he learned from her. And he reassures her that it's impossible for anyone in the kingdom to access or hack his phone at all. But suddenly, Adonis grows sad and asks Chloe when they will stop running and why humans want to get rid of her, even though she's so peaceful and wouldn't hurt anyone. Chloe reassures him, saying they're about to leave the kingdom and will live somewhere else that values witches. Then they'll be able to relax and won't have to run away again. While they were talking, they heard the kingdom army's vehicles closing in on them, having tracked their location by satellite. At that moment, Adonis decided to confront the army with his magic, but Chloe refused, saying he didn't have enough experience wielding it. She stands up to the army forces and unleashes her ice magic, and with her first icy whirlwind, she wiped out every man. And at that moment, word reached the kingdom, and when the emperor learns that the army failed to kill the witch Chloe, he becomes furious and decides to take matters into his own hands to eliminate her. After that, we return to Adonis, who knows that Chloe refuses to let him join any battle against humans because she doesn't want anyone of his kind to be killed. And in that moment, Adonis grows sad and wonders how humans could want to kill a kind-hearted witch like Chloe. She tells him not to be sad or overthink it because soon they'll escape the nightmare they're living through in the kingdom. But suddenly, without warning, a green magnetic energy appears so close that it lifts them off the ground. They quickly cling to each other. They are terrified and don't understand what's happening to them. Suddenly, the energy pulls them in, and they vanish completely from the desert. Meanwhile, Emperor Gidi gathers all the people of the kingdom and addresses them, saying he wants to speak to them as ordinary humans like themselves, and reminds them of the witches' history, that at the start they truly helped humans, but as the years passed, they began to unleash natural disasters with the power of their magic. In addition to their arrogance, seeing humans as beneath them, Gidi continues his speech about the witches, urging the people to eliminate every witch in the kingdom. At that moment, Chloe and Adonis appear in the kingdom's main square before the crowd. Chloe realizes that it's Gidi's plan to capture her. Sure enough, the soldiers swiftly move in to pull Adonis away from her, while he desperately tries to inscribe a spell that could kill anyone. But he fails because of the sheer strength of the soldiers surrounding him. Chloe becomes furious and threatens the emperor that if he comes near Adonis or harms him, she will destroy the kingdom. And when she tries to use her magic, she's stunned to find that she's unable to. The emperor laughs, telling her that he's invented a new system that prevents any magic from working anywhere in the kingdom. And when Chloe senses that Adonis might be in danger, she quickly steps in front of Gidi and tells him that Adonis is blameless. She kneels before him and says it was she who forced Adonis to learn magic so he could serve her. And whenever Adonis tries to deny her claims, Chloe doesn't give him any chance. She begs the emperor to kill her without getting near Adonis. Sure enough, Gidi pulls out his pistol and points it at her head. Chloe feels that her end has come. She begins to recall the first time she saw the boy, a homeless child in the street, how she rescued him from the cold, took him in that day, and they've never been apart since. Chloe snaps back from her memories and bids farewell to Adonis, who does everything he can to flee the soldiers or cast a spell to save her, but he fails, and she dies before his eyes. Gidi fires a shot at her, and she falls lifeless in front of Adonis. Then Gidi leaps forward, severs the witch's head, and displays it to the crowd. Adonis erupts into a scream, stricken that he couldn't save her. Dear viewer, if you think the story ends here, You're mistaken. Stay with me. The true journey begins now. We then shift to the kingdom's women's prison. Inside the cell, two girls are fighting over food until a girl named Daruka appears and shares her meal, stopping the quarrel. Soon after, her friend Anna steps forward and takes her hand, saying she's worried about Daruka because she's so kind and always sacrifices everything to help others. As they speak, the guards enter and call out the number 218, and Daruka shudders in terror. She knows that anyone summoned by that number never returns. When Daruka realizes it's her friend's number and sees her fear, she snatches the token away, tells the guards it's hers, and decides to sacrifice herself to save her only friend. And so, Daruka goes with the guards to the prison warden's office. The warden tells her they're going to sell her off as a servant to cover the prison costs, then orders her to take a photo so they can send it to her new owner. Daruka can't bear this degradation. She strikes the warden, snatches his phone, and, amid the confusion, makes her escape. She uses the phone to unlock the other prisoners' cells and succeeds in freeing them. They flee together until they reach a massive chamber. Daruka opens its door with the warden's phone, only to discover a gigantic time capsule in the center. At that moment, the guards surround her on all sides, and it seems her end is near. But suddenly, the capsule begins to crack open. As soon as the time capsule swings wide, a figure bound in iron chains appears inside. He awakens, shatters every restraint, and reveals his true face. It's Adonis, who the kingdom had imprisoned in this capsule for 10 years to protect itself from his power. When Adonis emerges from his confinement, his features are twisted with malice and vengeance. His first act is to attack the guards in the room. He kills one with the staff in his hand, brutally slaughters a second, and shoots the third with his own pistol before taking it for himself. In that moment, he sees Daruka, wronged and frightened, standing nearby. He levels his gun at her without hesitation. Daruka begs him to spare her life, and he pulls the trigger. But to everyone's astonishment, the shot frees her. He had actually broken her bonds so she could escape. The prison instantly descends into chaos as inmates riot and flee. Worse still, they discover the prison vault has been breached and its most precious item stolen, Adonis's magical feather. They cry out for the army's aid. The army commander dispatches his strongest and most trusted general, Ikot, with orders to find and destroy Adonis at any cost. Ikot storms the prison, mercilessly killing every inmate inside, but finds no trace of Adonis. He radios his superior to report Adonis is missing, but vows to continue the search until he is found and eliminated. Meanwhile, Adonis walks the kingdom's streets for the first time in 10 brutal years. All the old memories of the emperor's and the people's betrayal toward him and Chloe come flooding back, fueling his desire for revenge without exception. He begins inscribing a spell with his magical feather and then fires his pistol. The ordinary bullet transforms into a surge of energy that levels an entire building. Not content with that, Adonis writes another incantation. This spell summons a colossal mechanical golem in the center of the city. The giant automaton strides forward, crushing everything in its path. When the city police receive the emergency call, they can hardly believe what's happening. Then the massive golem appears before them and starts to lay waste to the streets. The police find themselves powerless and unable to act. Meanwhile, the army commander learns of the chaos and demands an immediate audience with the emperor. At that moment, the emperor is stricken with a serious illness that leaves him unable to rise from his bed. His wife cares for him tenderly, and he publicly thanks her for her patience throughout his long ailment. He confides to her that his illness is a curse for the atrocities he committed against the witches, yet he feels no remorse for having killed them. He insists it was the only way to secure humanity's progress. Back in the city, the army unleashes its full arsenal to destroy the gigantic automaton. Strangely, every explosive they fire veers off course and levels civilian homes instead, only deepening the devastation. This is the work of Adonis's protective enchantment, which shields both him and the golem. Even though Adonis watches his revenge unfold across the city, he isn't happy. Instead, he breaks down in tears as if he'd just lost Chloe, not 10 years ago. At that moment, Daruka has escaped and reached the city. She sees what's happening and realizes that Adonis is responsible. So she decides to go to him and stop him. Unafraid, she approaches and tells him what he's doing is wrong, insisting that if Chloe were still alive, she'd never approve of this. Daruka presses her point. Chloe would never have agreed to his revenge, provoking Adonis into a fury. He shouts at her not to speak Chloe's name again and resolves to kill her. But Daruka stops him and reveals that she too is a witch. Stunned, Adonis grows even angrier and demands to know why she never returned to help Chloe. Ashamed, Daruka admits she only ran away to save her own life. Enraged all the more, Adonis conjures a massive magical sword to execute her, just as he did Chloe. Daruka realizes she might die, but she is strangely calm. She tells him she consents to her own death if it will slake his thirst for vengeance and allow him to live in peace. In that moment, Adonis remembers his final moments with Chloe and how much Daruka resembles her. He collapses, powerless, and weeps at her feet, confessing how much he misses Chloe and that nothing matters without her. Daruka's heart breaks. She vows never to abandon him again and promises she can bring Chloe back to life. His memories of her hold that power. She reaches out her hand in support and swears she won't leave him alone. Adonis, desperate, agrees to follow her to restore Chloe. Suddenly, and without warning, Daruka is struck in the back by a bullet from an unseen shooter. It's General Ikat, who had aimed to kill Adonis instead. The shot hits Daruka by mistake. She falls, mortally wounded. In her final moments, she recalls the first brutal attack on the witches when she was a child. Her friend urged her to flee to Olivia, the only witch who could help, but Daruka refused. As her friend lay dying, she told Daruka that her kindness and innocence would save the witches. Daruka had run, only to hear her friend's last shot in the distance. Back in the present, Daruka dies in Adonis's arms. Furious and grief-stricken that he cannot resurrect Chloe, he watches as a squad of soldiers arrives and opens fire on him with everything they have. He casts a protective spell that reflects their bullets back, slaughtering them all. Ikat fires a rocket at Adonis, only for Adonis to send it hurtling back tenfold in power, brutally dismembering the general. Watching from afar, the army commander dispatches his sister and aide, Yuki, to the science center to activate the kingdom's anti-magic device. The center's director refuses, warning that when it was deployed 10 years earlier, it caused a catastrophic illness called cellular breakdown. The same curse now afflicting the emperor, and that there is still no cure. But Yuki insists and flips the switch. Adonis immediately loses his powers and his magical feather falls away, while Yuki and the director collapse, stricken by the disease. Before she loses consciousness, the director tells the commander that now is his chance to finish off Adonis. Reinforcements arrive, but before Adonis can reclaim his feather, a courageous female soldier dodges a collapsing building, draws her sword, and beheads him. She holds up his head and proclaims victory. The entire empire erupts in celebration. This is the end of the first part. If you have reached this point, please write the word Part 2 in the comments so that I can publish it soon.